Okay, Shalom. This is the brother Lamadia. Coming in the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And in this video, we're going to talk about Acts chapter 2, breaking down what does the word Pentecost and Proselyte means. And this is pursuant to Acts chapter 2. So let's go right into it. Now, Acts chapter 2, verse 1. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place. Now we have to break down this word Pentecost and see what it means. So now we break down the word Pentecost.
Strong's G 4005. Pentecoste. Pentecoste.
It means 50th, which goes into the 50th day. Because when we go into Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, the Lord set up the Passover, or the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which will fall on the 14th day of the first month of the year, known as Abib. And during this time, during the time when the Passover came, the Passover will fall in the springtime. And then you had the Feast of Weeks, which is also known as Pentecost, or the 50th day. And that's when you would bring, celebrate the first fruit of your flocks. The first fruit of your harvest, because this was in the beginning of spring. Now verse 2, and suddenly there came a sound from heaven as of a rushing mighty wind, and it fell all the house where they were sitting, and there appeared unto them cloven tongues like as of fire, and it sat upon each of them, and they were all filled with the Holy Spirit, and began to speak with other tongues as the Spirit gave them utterance. Now, when it means when they were speaking in tongues, meaning they were talking in different languages. Now we look at this word tongue, word language. The word language is from the Latin word lingua, which means tongue. So language and tongue is interchangeable. So when it says that they spoke in different tongues, meaning they were speaking in different languages. And we're going to find out why. And it says that the Spirit gave them utterance, meaning understanding. And they were dwelling at Jerusalem, Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. Now, when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? And how hear we every man in our own tongue, wherein we were born? Parthians and Medes and Elamites, and dwellers in Mesopotamia, and in Judea, and Cappadocia, and Pontus, and Asia. Now keep in mind here, Cappadocia and Pontus and Asia. Now it says Phrygia, Pamphylia, and Egypt, and in the parts of Libya about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, Greeks and Arabians, we do hear them speak in our tongues the wonderful works of the Most High. Now look at this word proselyte now.
Strong's G 4339. Proselytos. Proselytos.
Now it says here newcomer or stranger or alien. I don't know why they use the same word to define the word. One it says one who has come over from a Gentile religion to Judaism. That's not what it means. You actually go into it actually means let's get like it. So what I do is this. Now the origin of the word proselyte, it says here, pratos lutos from the Greek. Well, from the late Latin, from the Greek, proselytos, which means stranger, convert. From proselyte, past tense, or proselytia means to approach. That's what a proselyte really means. It really means one that approach. Because these men that was sojourning, that was approaching Jerusalem, pursuant to Deuteronomy, the 16th chapter, because there was some journeying from all these different lands. So they was coming from one region and approaching Jerusalem. And because the thing was with Israel had different settlements in the land of the heathens. But when we go to Deuteronomy, the 16th chapter, beginning at verse 15, it says, 7 days shalt thou keep a solemn feast unto the Lord thy power in the place which the Lord should choose, because the Lord thy power shall bless thee in all thy increase, in all the works of thy hands. Therefore thou shalt surely rejoice 3 times in a year, to all thy males appear before the Lord thy power in the place which he should choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, that's the Passover. Then it says in the feast of weeks, which was what? Pentecost, the 50th day. And it says in the feast of tabernacles, and they shall not appear before the Lord empty. So the feast of weeks is interchangeable with the word Pentecost, or the 50th day. So that's why you had all these Israelites or sojourners, these Israelite sojourners coming from all these different lands unto the land of Jerusalem, pursuant to Deuteronomy 16 and 16, which word proselyte actually means a one that approaches, because they haven't yet received the gospel of Yahushua. Now, for them to even approach Jerusalem, they had to know already there was Israelites, but they haven't received the gospel yet of Yahushua. So they had to receive it. Now we read later on when we read about the gospel being dispersed to the Gentiles, which was Israelite foreigners that was in the land of the heathen, but did not know there was Israelites. So they had to first learn that there was Israelites of the promise and be taught about Yahushua. Now let's go to the book of James 1:1. James, a servant of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. So who are these people scattered abroad coming from these different regions? The 12 tribes. Simple. Now let's go to Peter's chapter 1, verse 1. Peter, an apostle of Yahushua, to the strangers scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia. So now these strangers was who? The 12 tribes was scattered abroad. So these are the strangers. And it says, and they were scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia. Now we read in the book of Acts chapter 2, it mentioned again in Cappadocia and Pontus and Asia, which were the same people, Israelites, which were what? Scattered abroad. Now let's go to Ephesians 2:11. Now it says, wherefore remember that ye being in time past in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands. Now, why were they called Gentiles? Because they wasn't circumcising their children. They wasn't, keeping the laws. They was living amongst the heathen, and they was acting just like the heathen, wearing their apparel, speaking their language, and didn't know about Yahushua. Whereas in Acts chapter 2, they knew that there was Israelites in the land of the heathen, but haven't as yet received the gospel of Yahushua. But in here we read Ephesians 2 was the Israelite that had to receive and learn all over again that there was Israelites and receive the gospel of Yahushua. Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision, but that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands. So there was known as the uncircumcision, and the circumcision was the Israelites in Jerusalem. But the thing with them was they was circumcised in the flesh made by hands. It was physically circumcised rather than spiritually circumcised. Give me 1 second. Now, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 4, verse 4. Circumcise yourselves to the Lord, and take away the foreskins of your heart, meaning your mind, ye men of Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem, lest my fury come forth like fire and burn that none can quench it because of the evil of your doings. So this circumcision is talking about the circumcision of your mind, meaning making assessments, becoming a new person. That's why it says they will call uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision of the Israelites in the land and the flesh made by hands. But they was physically circumcised, but they was not spiritually circumcised. Whereas the ones that wasn't physical circumcised, they were spiritually circumcised. Now, verse 12, that at that time you were without Yahushua, being aliens from the commonwealth. Now the word commonwealth meaning citizenship. Because what comes with the inheritance is the promise. And it says, and strangers from the covenant of promise, having no hope, and without the Most High in the world. So these was Israelites. They didn't know about, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. They was exercising all the, heathens lifestyle, but they had to convert. But they were still Israelites. So they was receiving mercy. Now it says, but now in Yahushua, ye who sometime were far off are made nigh by the blood of Yahushua. For he is our peace, who had made both one, and had broken down the middle wall of partition between us. Because there was a lot of partition with the Israelites in the land and the Israelite that was scattered abroad. And there was partition between Israel and the Most High. So Yahushua, when he shed his blood, he broke down that partition. That's why the Israelite foreigners was able to receive mercy, even though they was gone and went off and didn't know who they were, and it was, at one point, worshiping the gods of the heathen, or in the religion of the heathen, dressing like the heathens, following their mannerism. They received mercy through the blood of Yahushua. That's the reason why their eyes was open. Having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of the commandments contained in an ordinance, or to make in himself of twain one new man, so making peace, and that he might reconcile both unto the Most High in one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby. I'll read verse 17 too. And it says, and came and preached to you which were afar off. See that? The Israelite that was scattered abroad. They had settlements in the land of the heathen. Now it says, and to them that were nigh. The Israelites that was in the land. Now it says, for through him, Yahushua, we both have access by one Spirit unto the Father. Now therefore ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens, which is the commonwealth, with the saints and of the household of the Most High. So pretty much I'll close with that. And I'm going to say all praises and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Rakah Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.